You're still watching Nile Cruise, and thank you for staying with us. Time now to introduce you to two very distinguished guests here with us. We have with us Beverley Agbakoba Onyedianya from Nigeria, and she is a sports lawyer and sports entrepreneur, and also founder of a football team there, the LTFC, or Tigers Football Club. Hello, Beverley. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to your second country.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you. And we also have the pleasure of introducing to you Mr. Aboullahi Muhammad Kajama, and he is African Youth Ambassador from Nigeria and founder of the Al-Amal for Peace and Empowerment Forum. Thank you very much, Aboullahi, for joining us here. It's a pleasure, and welcome to your second country. Now, ladies first, as we always,
of course,
from day one. Beverley, so it's very understandable why you are here. You're an owner of a football club.
Yes.
Are you looking for players or what?
Well, I started it not just to look for players, to develop players. There was a gap in the, I would say, in the football market under the age of 15. So 7 years ago, I decided to venture into the crazy but brilliant world of football, educating and training players after school. This is not a residential training club. It's an extracurricular club, Saturday club. So it's been 7 years on, and it's been amazing. It's been quite a journey. Like, you know, Nigerian football is, you know, recognized worldwide.
Absolutely.
So it's a privilege, and I thank God to be part of something, you know, so big and so awesome.
Yeah, and so useful and so good for the kids.
Yes.
And for the upcoming youth.
Yes.
But are you getting any star? Are we gonna get any stars from your team?
By God's grace.
Yeah.
I keep trying.
I mean, are you able to keep the talents, or do they flee automatically to the big teams?
To the big teams. To be honest, yes, they did flee. We have seen an influx of international names, and sometimes it's difficult to compete with that, but you just have to be consistent, and, you know, people will believe in what you're doing, and by God's grace, eventually we will be able to produce, you know,
enough for everybody.
Yes. Yes, there's enough talent to go around.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
And Aboullahi, I mean, how do you see this as a festival, the Khan, here in Egypt, and as an indication indeed that Egypt is serious when it says that it wants to embrace Africa, it will embrace African youth. There is that African Youth Forum initiative by President Sisi. Egypt is now holding the African Union rotating presidency, and holding the cup here for the 5th time. So being here with your Al-Amal and Peace, I mean Amal, hope, I guess,
hope,
that's
what, of course,
the Hope and Peace Forum. Talk to me about what you're doing here, and how do you feel that Egypt is indeed serious about embracing Africa and African youth specifically?
I will say Egypt is they are serious since day one. I know we are here in Egypt since 5 years back. I was a student here in Egypt, and I participated in many youth and student programs. I was Nigerian Student Union President in 2016, and I was the Educational Secretary of over 14,000 African Student Union here in Egypt, and I am the founder now of Al-Amal for Peace. If you had the name Al-Amal, which is hope in Arabic, I choose that name for what I saw in Egypt, and Egyptian governments, and what they are doing for us, the students, and all of us, the people that are coming to Egypt for what you call it, to stay, or for study, or for everything. I mean, Egypt, since the one I said that issue, I said it in World Youth Forum program in Sharm el Sheikh about 3 years back, with the presence of the our father, I will say, President Abdul Fattah al-Sisi. I said that Egypt is equal to Africa. If we said Africa, we called Nigeria the giant of Africa. And Egypt, many people used to say that Egypt are Arabs. But I will say, what I'm saying always, that Egypt is Africa, and
right.
Africa is Egypt. And Egyptian government used to do many issues for African youths here in Egypt. This is our second house that I'm saying always too, that it may become the first house, because yes. I'm not even feeling that I'm a visitor here in Egypt.
Great.
I'm just seeing that Egypt is part of Nigeria, because all what I can do in Nigeria, I'm doing it already here. And I mean, if we saw the well-organized the field, all these programs, the tickets, the programs, all, I think yesterday the president went to the field to yes. see with himself. I think for a president of a country to supervise and see what is going on by himself, I think not only the Minister of Youth, but the president by himself used to go. This shows that Egypt are serious since the first day, and the African Cup of Nations will be great in Egypt. And I mean, Egypt can do it. We know it. We know that. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Beverley, do you intend to go to the matches? Did you bring with you any of your players? Tell me about your plans in the from the 21st of June to the 19th of July.
Okay, well, I have to say why I'm actually in Egypt. I'm actually here with the Nasser Leadership Fellowship, the Gamal Abdel Nasser Leadership Fellowship. So that primarily is the reason why I'm here. And it's been amazing. It's given me opportunities to see different parts of Egyptian culture and insight into the economy. We've had visits just across different sectors, and in particular sports. And I am really pleased that I'm here, and it coincides with AFCON. Unfortunately, I'm leaving on the 22nd, so I will only make the opening ceremony, but great. I'm glad that at least great. I can make it, definitely. It's such an honor to be here. And
pleasure is
yes.
ours. Tell me about the sports venues or the sports facilities that you visited or
okay.
saw.
Okay. Well, we've seen a variety of different sectors, not just sports. Yes. So we're staying currently near the Aboullahi football stadium. Yeah. So that was great. So far, that's the only sports facility I visited, but I am really excited for the opening ceremony. I can't wait to be, in the ambience with all those thousands of people gathered all over Africa. That's why I love sports. Yes. It unites all of us. We forget our nationalities unless you're competing, obviously. Yeah. But it's just brilliant, and that's why I'm in sports, because I believe in unification. I believe in bringing people together for a common goal, for the development of people, whether children or adults. It just exposes you and it broadens your horizons. So
it does.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that, Aboullahi? And the sports brings a sense of fraternity as well, and really. And as Beverley rightly said, except if you are competing. But just as the match ends or the competition ends, you see everybody hugging each other, kissing each other, and consoling each other, hanging out with each other. Really. So sports is a family. It makes for one big family. So tell us about that big sports family within the big African family.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that even in our programs, youth programs or student programs here in Egypt, when you say to the student, we have a training or workshop issue, you will see student 2 or 10 people going. But if you said we have football or a trip that football was included in, you will see hundreds or 50 of students just want to go. I mean, even now, many students keep calling me to manage for them how to go to the stadium and watch the football. And I'm even asking the student, if I'm an educational secretary last year, if I said let us go to what do you call it, a training sector or anything, you are not coming. But now you are the one calling me to to manage these issues for you. That means that football or game in general really is the big things that what do you call it, unite people. Like my sister said, people even forget their nations. If for example in football you'll not even hear somebody saying I'm Arab, I'm African, I'm Nigerian, I'm Egyptian. You will see them, if you see even the footballers, if you see the good relation between Muhammad Salah and African footballers, if you see all these issues of Ahmad Musa from Nigeria, if you see the love of all what do you call it, the world to Muhammad Salah, the Muslims, Christians, all people loves him. We know we have Ahmad Musa in Nigeria. Yes. Every people loves him. That means that football really is one of the main issues that can bring peace and bring well-being, what do you call the relationships between people. Even I said that this is a very good opportunity for Egyptian and even Africans. Is this African, what do you call it, game is a good what do you call it, way for us to gather together. All African footballers, the well-known footballers, are coming to Egypt, and I know Egyptian are one of the what do you call it, people that loves
fanatic football.
Football. Then that means African footballers are here in Egypt.
Passion.
And I'm calling to the Ministry of Youth here in Egypt to make opportunities for Egyptian to meet with African footballers, with we Africans here in Egypt, like this Abdul Nasir, what do you call, leadership program?
Fellowship, yeah.
Like these issues will make us to meet with our brothers and sisters here in Egypt and all African. And lastly, we are going to go out or bring out the main issue of these games, all which is Africa is one, and we are all united. The youths, the girls, boys, all of us will be united with this what do you call it, game issue and football issue.
Absolutely. And it's no secret, by the way, Aboullahi and Beverley, it's a fact that when African teams perform, say, in the World Cup, and Egypt is not performing, you'll find Egyptians rooting for the African team.
Of course.
Absolutely.
If there is Senegal or Cameroon or Nigeria or whichever team,
it doesn't matter.
Playing against a non-African team, they will root.
Exactly.
They want them to go as far as they can. If it's two African teams, they can choose.
Yes.
I mean, it's there because they love these players or like those players and so on.
Yes.
So I was just talking with the distinguished guest that we had earlier about the fact that Africans excel at young ages. We've had FIFA World Cup champions under 17 and under 20, but we've not had an Olympic champions, that's under 23. Sometimes you put 3 senior players with you, but we've not had a senior world champion. Also in the women's and the women's football World Cup.
Yes, it's on now, and it's you know, my team is doing well.
I saw Cameroon, and they were playing very well.
Yes.
Maybe they lost 2 matches, but they were playing very, very well.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just like the men, basically.
Of course, of course.
So what I wanted to ask is, why is it that at the very young ages Africans are supreme, but at the senior level they're still good, but they're not the top? And what can we do to change that?
Okay, for me, I think that's part of the reason why I set up my club. We need to ensure continuity. Just like you said, you know, they excel when they're younger, and then things begin to tail off. You see people say, oh, I was so good at football when I was younger, but my parents didn't allow me. You know, there needs to be a change of mindset. It all begins with the mindset first, and then we need to address our infrastructural deficiencies with regards to even having a pitch available to play from. And then we also need to look at school curriculums. We need to make our curriculums more flexible. Okay, Nigeria has a long history of academic excellence. You know, we've churned out professors, Nobel laureates, you know, top economists. But in sports, for maybe in the last 20 years, we're only beginning to see a shift from yes, yes, you're allowed to go do your sports. You know, for a long time, sports was not taken seriously. Parents would make their children stop once they go to secondary school. So we really need to have maybe a private-public partnership where
Beautiful.
state gets more involved. They provide facilities. You know, the schools, the institutions, we need to see more private institutions that have sports courses, sports management courses, player development training, skills camps, trials. We need to basically increase the breadth of the options available for, and not just for football, swimming,
All aspects,
volleyball,
Beautifully said.
cricket, everything.
I'm sorry to interrupt
Okay.
you, but we have to end it. But I
Okay.
can't end it without asking you, who do you think is going to win the cup? And the question is for both of you. I know it's a difficult question, very difficult.
It's very difficult.
We don't want diplomatic answers,
Exactly.
but
I mean, I've seen
Beverley.
some. We know the strong contenders. Obviously, I'm rooting for Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian. I have to root for my team. Egypt too, my second country, like you said. I mean, Cameroon. There's so many good teams. I just wish them all the very best. All the very best.
I think she will be traveling to Nigeria after some days. But for me, I'm still, I don't want to go out now for Egyptian to catch me and say, why are you?
Yeah.
But really, I know that Nigerian team, they are well organized team for now, and even Egyptian team, they are good too. I will be supporting the two, Nigerian and Egyptian team.
Great, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Beverley
much.
and
Thank you.
Aboullahi.
Thank you so much.
It's been a real pleasure.
Real
Thank
pleasure
you.
as well.
Thank you.
Take care.
You
Thanks.
too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Dear viewers, please stay with us. We'll be back momentarily here at Nile Cruise.